Thank you for joining me. I'm Les Cowie of Les Cowie Consulting, and this is another session in less than 3 minutes, and another one in which I presume that you've already seen and viewed the videos where we examined the 5 layers in the profit pillar. If you've not yet done that, then I sure would recommend that you go to lescowieconsulting.com and view those videos. Of course, what I'm going to say next applies to what we've said there. Now in this session I want to examine the process layers. In the last section, the executive required his functional manager to look at each of the departments in his organization and his particular functional layer, and to examine the internal and external environment of each department. That is, so that in this section the executive then could chart the process flow within each department. Now the process flow is the sequence of what happens in that department. Some things happen in a sequence where there's a beginning and a logical end where the activities start from the beginning again. Other things happen in parallel. Some things start along the way. But the process flow charts the processes in the department, and it's at each process point that costs are accumulated. The next step is to take one process point at a time and then plot the ins and outs, because for each process there are inputs to which you apply processes in order to produce specific outputs. We see all the inputs that the marketing people take and then apply their process steps in order to produce the outputs that we expect from a marketing function. But each of those inputs have costs attached to them, and the process steps accumulate costs, particularly the overhead costs in the organization, in order to produce those outputs. And that's where you can pinpoint where costs can be compressed through innovation in how you do the job. It's similar for a sales department and manufacturing. Any department you look at, you can identify where costs accumulate. And that is where you can say, what are the costs? What can we change? Either by reducing the cost of the element or by changing the way the job is done. So, do the preparation, because when it comes to the creative meeting, your team needs to understand the costs in your function.